Hello, BookTube. I've got a little bit of mail for you today on an overcast, soppingly humid day in Boston. Just high summer in Boston. 85 degrees, 90% humidity, day after day after day. It's a summer that won't end. We've got a periodical and 2 packages. But it isn't just any periodical. It's Architectural Digest, which means, yes indeed, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for Donoghue Does Decor, where we turn our way through the latest issue of Architectural Digest in order to see what travesties against taste and common sense are being enacted. And every issue of Architectural Digest starts off with gigantic ads. Just sprawling 1 or 2 page ads, just that. And then the rest of the first half of every issue is still ads, but they're more purposed. They have a lot more text to them. They have a lot more propensity to get a well-heeled viewer to buy something, to buy a $50,000 cabinet or whatever. And even in the first part, in the ads, we see something that becomes something of a little theme in this issue, which is Donoghue, which is a little dog. I'd almost think that the Post-it people at Architectural Digest have had their vanities stung just a little by my criticisms and are putting in more dogs than they need to. But we get, for instance, this is another ad, just UBS. Is that some sort of financial services? But we get an architectural theme to the ad, and look at this. That is a pretty neat office. That is pretty good. I would take that office. The one thing I would change, of course, is the stupid affectation of not having a computer on the table. Because, of course, you would have a computer on the table. But we continue. We amble our way through the front part of the magazine, which is mostly ads for things. And a great number of the ads, whether it's for end tables or wicker chairs or whatnot, will mention in the fine print prices available upon request, because they've learned that they will generate reader, in other words, my outrage, if they show that this little ceramic cup made by slaves in North Korea, that the marketer here in the United States is charging $50,000 for that little ceramic cup. That was made by people who aren't alive anymore, who were beaten to death. that if they put the price, $50,000 on there, they're going to get a lot of outrage from me. So they don't do it anymore. They write price available, look on request. But even in these ads, we once again turn the page and get ooh boo 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 boo. So you see the theme that starts to develop here. Not only are we getting lots of dogs, but we're getting an unusual number of books. It's true that they aren't believably situated. You don't believe that anyone's actually reading them, but still. So we move on through these advertisements, and they get a little more detailed as the magazine progresses. But whether they're just a picture or whether they're detailed, the guiding principle is still the same. And it's one that we've gone over many times before with Donoghue Does Decor. And it's me and my old frenemy, Deb, who some of you have seen in videos on this channel going back years. Deb and I go back years. And Deb and I are very old. We're very cranky. We're ungainly. We're sweaty. We're high maintenance. But we're the coolest guests you're going to have in your house. You're going to want us to come back. You're going to roll your eyes, but you're going to want us to come back. And that means that if you have anything in your Architectural Digest house that is going to sting us, stick us, frustrate us, collapse underneath us, it's the wrong thing, and you should get rid of it. Like, for instance, what is this? Is that a chair of some kind? What are we supposed to do? There are no armrests. It's not comfortable. We can't lean back on it. And the minute Deb or I sit on that, much less I sit on it and then Deb coquettishly jumps on my lap, as she is wont to do, the minute we're on that together, it's going to destroy. It's going to break apart into its component atoms. There are going to be even shards peppering our wide behinds. So why have it? Why have something like that? No, your aesthetic guide should be whether or not the thing you're looking at is pleasing to me and Deb. But we move our way through. You see, what on earth? what on earth? What are we supposed to do with this? We're not supposed to. How are we supposed to get out of this if we get into it? No, No, absolutely not. Doesn't work at all. I can't remember off the top of my head if we see many examples of stuff that does work. But we get these. A lot of these ads at the front of the magazine are for architectural firms, so it's not really an item. It's more we want you to hire us, and they will show pictures of some of their work. Like for instance, and you get a glimpse of what these spaces must look like that you might not ever see. Look at this little courtyard with a table where you can just eat out there in the courtyard. That's rather nice. I don't think I would. I think this is a waste, a misuse of the space that is not good for eating. I would arrange it differently. Maybe a tiled walkway around more earth. Get rid of these things in containers and just have growing earth there with the tiled walkways. Maybe growth that is tall enough so that it obscures the view from these windows, gives you a little privacy down on the ground. Maybe a tiny little inlaid tile pool. You could make a good space out of it, definitely. But we're going through these pages. And then finally we get to the back of the issue. We have to go through some profiles first of various architects, some of whom are presenting slightly more attractive wares than others. we go through some profiles, and then we get to then we get to the back, which is the back of the reissue of Architectural Digest is profiles of actual people's homes. And here's where you will see whether or not people succeed or fail. And a spoiler, they mostly fail. Like, for instance, we have Jennifer Garner, who briefly jumped back into the limelight this summer by guest starring in the Deadpool movie. We go to her home in Los Angeles, I believe. California. I'm not sure that the place is given. And once again, the photographers at Architectural Digest are trying to bribe Steve because they show her cavorting with her dogs. But her home is Mother Nature. It is we're told it is a very nurturing place. Very, very calm and welcoming. No books whatsoever. But it's supposed to be calm and welcoming. And it shares with that vision. Never mind the thing jumping off the counter there. We also have a lovely dog there. But it shares with that vision of comfort and homeliness the same drawback that a number of places do in this issue, which is that there's no water. There's no water at all whatsoever. So this warm, cozy, homely little home has to import hundreds of gallons of potable water a week. There's no water anywhere near it, so it's a ruinous cost. But we get Jennifer Garner says that the house she wants it to be very comfortable for her kids, and the minute somebody in one of these home profiles mentions kids, you know what to expect, right? Our giant stuffed giraffe, our great nemesis in all of these home profiles, which just recently, in fact, just last week, Janet Wertman gave me visual proof that giant stuffed giraffes are always creepy all the time. But Jennifer Garner throws us a little bit of a curveball. She does give us a giant stuffed animal, but it's even creepier than a giant stuffed giraffe. We go to the kids' room and there's this thing. I think it's a giant flamingo. It doesn't really matter in terms of the children's mental well-being because they're not allowed into this room. This is called their bedroom. This gorgeous space here is called the children's study, but they're not allowed in there. If the nanny allows them anywhere near the rooms that are designated for children, the nanny is summarily executed and buried in the garden. They don't pay her anyway. But once again, we get a gorgeously appointed bathtub with a deep inner recess and nice tubed faucets so that you can bathe yourself all over. But once again, it's on the ground level so that Javier, who's just finished trimming the hedges, can just walk by and say, nice boobies there, lady of the house. Who wants a bathtub like that? Give it some privacy. Give it a booth or a folding carton or something or other. But then we move to New York City. And not only New York City, but a property in New York City that I've walked by many, many times. It is visually distinctive. This little house is visually distinctive. You can walk by. It looks just like that. It stands out from the neighborhood. And here we go inside to see how it's been renovated. And I want to give you a little hint. poorly. It's been poorly renovated. All of the original life has been ripped out of it in this makeover. And no life has been restored to it. So you have totally useless antiseptic rooms. Look at that. Horrible travesty of space. All of that would have to go. This room is salvageable, but everything in it would have to go. All of this is just so joyless. What is the word for it? The idea was to bring back the structure back to the federal style. Yeah, that really looks like a federal style bedroom. So what is this? What is this, where people line up to be shot? It's just utterly hideous. Just utterly hideous. There is nothing federal about any of this. This is all just a Stanley Kubrick fever dream. And the shame of it is that you can see from the outlines that this is salvageable. This space is salvageable. All of these bad choices would have to go. All of them would, obviously. But the space itself, these old houses were made. Yeah, here's the nice federal style bedroom. Oh my god. Oh my god. Or how about we're told that every space is meant to be serene and cosseting. That's the word that Architectural Digest uses. Cosseting. Here's the living room. Don't you feel cosseted already? The end table is a garbage can. The fireplace is false. The chairs are inhumanly uncomfortable. And when you sit in them against the fake fireplace, you get to look at this wonderful piece of artwork, which looks like a piece of wall foam that has been mounted on the wall. And this unbelievably, threateningly tall ceiling. So nothing's been done at all to make this room hospitable, let alone cosseting. But nevertheless, the Architectural Digest people go with that word. Here's a cosseting bedroom. Don't you feel cosseted already? Huh? So it gets to 11 o'clock at night, midnight, all of a sudden the lights are out, and the main question in this blood-red bedroom is the person in this bed going to kill the person in this bed? Or is the person in this bed going to kill the person in this bed? I don't know. Stick around in this horribly redone house and you'll find out. Here's the study. Isn't that great, huh? That's just lovely. That's just what you want from a study. It's great natural light while you agonize in physical agony. Because the chairs are inhospitable, the table is inhospitable, the light is inhospitable. Just horrible. Just imagine how this space could be used. Imagine how it could be used. And I guarantee you that whoever desecrated this space this way is one of those people in the earlier profiles, and I guarantee you they charged a king's ransom to do it. Just a vast amount of money to do it. Here you have this old federal-style building, one of only a handful left in New York City. You want me to renovate it for you. All right, the total bill for my services is going to be $1.1 million. And this is what you get for your money. Absolutely horrifying. Here's a baker's lamp. It's hideous. It's a green base, a green shade, and a green bulb in the middle there. It's $315. And then we move on back to L.A. And here is a little glimpse of Lothlorien. It really is it's a shades of Eden. It's a little glimpse of Lothlorien, and we're even going to Zubububu. We've got little wandering pathways there, and they are lovely. But we're going to take it to the maximum. We're going to dress like Galadriel, because we're winsome, and that's what we do. We live out in the wilderness here, and we water the wilderness, and we take care of it like Tom Bombadil and Goldberry. But there's no water anywhere around here. There's no water within 200 miles of this house. No sources of water that haven't dried up. Nothing. Nothing at all. The rivers are bone dry. The aquifers have died. So all the water to make all of this profusion necessary, to make it all possible, all of that is going to be trucked in. This area has seen lots of wildfires, but it hasn't seen any rain in 30 years. And there are no rivers anymore. There are no aquifers anymore. There's no water anymore. You have to bust it all in to your lovely bathroom that it looks so wonderful. So you want to crawl into that bathtub while someone just watches you. Just sits here and watches you to check your form. just horrifying. And then we move finally to back to West Hollywood. And at least here we have some desert growth. seguros and cactuses and whatnot, that are the only things that realistically would grow there. And we are told that the woman who owns this house wants it to be eco-friendly. So we get cactuses and dry plants, plants that that could live in this area. But we also get this. We get courtyard views like this. This is only possible with a vast amount of water. And that is not eco-friendly. The way you're getting that water to this house is not eco-friendly. At last we go back to Brooklyn. We go back to New York. And this is a home that has been desecrated by a designer. Yes, of course it's going to be a designer who took, I don't see the outside space, but this guy took a perfectly good space and ruined it. Just in every step of the way. Look at that brainless, sharp-elbowed clutter. Look at how ugly that clutter is. Ugh. And here he is lounging in his bathtub underneath yet another mounted piece of foam airport siding that he probably paid $20,000 for. He probably paid a year's salary for it. Here we get the dumbly cluttered living room. What is the point of it looking like this? No. All of it would have put it all out on the sidewalk for a junk sale and redo this room. The room has potential. You'd want to, you can do something about that. I know it's really cool and have the industrial look, but you don't want a pipe running through the ceiling. You want books on the built-in bookcase. Get rid of this thing, whatever it is. Fix the natural lighting here by getting rid of all this junk and maybe taking advantage of it. You could do it. It would be possible to do, but you couldn't save any of it. Same thing with this travesty of a bedroom. You have to just get rid of it all and start over. And that brings us to the end of this Architectural Digest, which seemed on the surface to be cozier than normal, but it turned out to be every bit as much of a travesty. But it did have more dogs. That's good. That's really good, I guess. Then we've got 2 packages to go through here as well for the mail. To see what we have here. There's 1 package and 1 box. I'm looking for finished copies. Okay. The first one is a finished copy. This is something that we've already seen. This comes to me without any paperwork at all, but this is an October release. This is Robert Skidelsky, whose name will be familiar to you because he did a multi-volume biography of one of those boring economists that David Murphy likes so much. David Murphy actually held books of this guy's up on the last book haul that we did together. Here is his book about artificial intelligence. Mindless. And this is the finished copy. So this is going to be a $30 hardcover in October. Faith in technological fixes for our problems is waning. Automation, which promised relief from toil, has reactivated the long-standing fear of job redundancy. Information technology, meant to liberate us from traditional authority, is placing unprecedented powers of surveillance and control in the hands of a purely secular big brother. And for the first time, artificial intelligence threatens anthropogenic disaster caused by our own activities. Scientists join imaginative writers in warning us of the fate of Icarus, whose wings melted because he flew too close to the sun. This book tells the story of our fractured relationship with machines, from humanity's first tools down to the present and into the future. It raises the crucial question of why some parts of the world developed a machine civilization and others did not. It raises that question. I bet it attempts to answer that question, and I unconditionally guarantee it answers that question incorrectly. And traces the interactions between capitalism and technology, and between science and religion, in making of the modern world. So this is, not even 400 pages, well shy of 400 pages, and means to be not just a book about AI, but a book about humans' relationship with all of technology. So I have the advanced copy, and I meant to get to it, but I haven't yet. So this will go on the pile for tonight. And then we have this box, which is not as big as I like the boxes to be. It's rather modest in size. And boy, oh boy, is it hammered down tight here. Let's just use brute force to get it open here and see what's in here. Pub sheet of some kind? Oh no, gross. It's an invoice. No, what have we got here? Oh, great. Oh, okay. Oh, bye. Okay. All right. Well, this is going to be enjoyable to read, but it's clearly, in terms of reviewing, it's clearly meant for one of you and not for me. This is by Robert Scholl, and it is a critical biography of the composer Messiaen. With a black and white photo on the cover there, and no sheet here at all. This is Reaction Books. They are distributed from the University of Chicago Press, so this might have a University Press price tag to it. But it's the first Messiaen biography in a long time, I think. Let's see what we have here. This groundbreaking biography offers fresh perspectives on the life, ideas, and music of French 20th century composer, organist, and ornithologist Messiaen. Drawing on previously unexplored sketches and archival material, Robert Scholl seamlessly combines elements of biography, musicology, theology, philosophy, psychoanalysis, and aesthetics to present a nuanced perspective on the composer's work. This book examines the profound impact of Messiaen's devout Catholicism, which found expression through his work as a church organist, his engagement with birdsong, his interaction with surrealism, and his influence on major musical figures in the later 20th century. What's your name again? Robert Scholl. His devout Catholicism found expression in one other thing as well. I wonder if you're going to bring it up. I'm not going to be salacious enough to look at the index to see. I'll find out on my own. Unlike previous biographies, this book also considers the perspectives of Messiaen's contemporaries and students, providing a comprehensive understanding of his life and artistic legacy. Okay. So who is the author when he's at home? He teaches at the Royal Academy of Music in the University of West London. And he's the editor of a volume called Messiaen in Context. He has performed all of the composer's organ music, recorded improvisations in concert and for silent film on the organ and piano, and given recitals in London and Paris. All right, so he's immensely familiar with this figure. Great. Fantastic. So all that remains now, not a question of making gaffes with the archives, all that remains now is can he communicate that to a non-specialist? And I don't have a date on this thing, but I imagine that it's coming out soon. So there we go. 2 books, both nonfiction. The Skidelsky book I can handle on my own. The Messiaen, one of you is probably a fan. I find that hard to believe, since none of his music is listenable, but that's never stopped you before. I'm sure that one of you is a fan. If one of you is a fan, I'd be happy to send you this book for you to maybe consider reviewing it for Open Letters Review. I've got a nice roster of reviewers for Open Letters Review. I'd love to expand that. And keeping in mind the basic rules of me sending you a book. Since there are so many of you here that are new, let's go over those rules one more time, shall we? There are 3 of them. One is that you have to know where you live, which you might think is self-evident, and yet so many people who ask for books from me do not know where they live. I ask them for their mailing address, and they don't get it right on the first try, or on the second, and sometimes on the third, which is not cute and not fun, since I'm the one paying to mail these things. If I ask you where you live and you give me a drastically incomplete address, many times over the years that I've had this channel, the thing will get lost. A month later, someone will say, oh, I've never got it. And I will say, could we go over your address again? I'll say, this is the address you sent me. And they'll say, oh, no, I left out this part. Could you send it again? Send something else. That has happened many, many times. That is appallingly self-centered. And for the longest time, it actually worked on me. It doesn't work on me anymore. So if you can't give me a completely correct mailing address on your first try, then your name goes in a book and I draw a line through it. That's condition number 1. Condition number 2 is that regardless of whether or not you get your mailing address right, it has to be in the lower 48 of the United States of America. Can't be in Hawaii or Alaska, and it can't be overseas, or the thing will not reach you. It'll be an eye-watering amount of money that I might as well just put out on the sidewalk. So unfortunately, I have to restrict this to the continental United States. And the third condition is that you have to want the book, which again, just like knowing where you live, might seem self-evident. And yet, over the years, I have had many people say, yeah, I might look at it. Send it to me. I might look at it. Yeah, thanks, Captain Casual. I want you to want the book. I'm not actually subsidized by the government. I'm paying to mail it to you. So I need you to want it. And the cherry on top of all 3 of those, I don't make it a condition, but the cherry on top of all 3 of those is if you felt like reviewing it for Open Letters Review. An online review journal where I'm one of the editors and I'm taking on new reviewers all the time, and it's a wonderful feeling. Now, it might be that that's all you want to do is just write up a formal book review, learn how to do that, learn how to get better at it, learn how to conform to house style and whatnot, and make a deadline. Or it might be that you want to break into book reviewing. You want to break into freelance writing. Well, you can do that. You can build a clip file of your own work published under the aegis of Open Letters Review, and not many places make that offer. So feel free, feel free to consider doing that. But anyway, that is the mail for today. 2 nonfiction books and Architectural Digest, which once again fails to please Steve. So I'll wrap this up for now, and I'll be back. Thank you, BookTube.